Hello, darlings. Today we're delving into a chapter of history that's both poignant and powerful, yet too often left in the shadows of more familiar events. Today, let's talk about a crucial chapter of World War II that's often overlooked, VJ Day or Victory over Japan Day. This day marks not just the end of a war, but the closing of a global chapter that shaped the world we know today. While Europe erupted in joy on VE Day in May 1945, with crowds filling the streets and a sense of relief sweeping across the continent, the conflict was far from over for millions. In Asia and the Pacific, the war raged on with unrelenting ferocity. British, Commonwealth and Allied soldiers, often called the Forgotten Army, continued to fight in some of the harshest conditions imaginable, facing a determined Japanese enemy in the dense jungles of Burma and beyond. These men endured relentless jungle warfare, where every day brought new dangers. They battled not only the enemy, but also the unforgiving environment, monsoon rains, oppressive heat, and the ever-present threat of tropical diseases. On top of these hardships, they faced long months, sometimes years of separation from loved ones, serving far from home, long after Europe's peace had been declared. Letters from home were treasured lifelines, reminders of what they were fighting for. Their courage and sacrifice were immense even as the world's attention shifted away. Many felt forgotten, their struggles overshadowed by celebrations elsewhere, but their determination never wavered. VJ Day marks the true end of World War II, when Japan finally surrendered on August 15, 1945, and the long, devastating global conflict at last came to a close. The news sparked scenes of jubilation and relief across the world. It's a day to remember those who fought on, who felt forgotten but never gave up. Their resilience and bravery helped secure the peace we enjoy today. Yesterday, August 15, 2025, we marked the 80th anniversary of this momentous day. Across the country, ceremonies and tributes honored the veterans and their families, ensuring their legacy endures. VJ Day is about solemn reflection and gratitude for the peace that was finally secured. It's a time to pause, remember, and give thanks for the sacrifices made. Let's honor the memory of those who made that peace possible and ensure their stories are passed down through generations. Their story deserves to be remembered by all, not just as a chapter in history books, but as a living legacy of courage, endurance, and hope for a better world. So, what does VJ Day mean? For many, it's a phrase heard in history class or seen on memorial plaques, but its true meaning runs much deeper. VJ Day stands for Victory over Japan Day, a moment that signaled the end of one of the most devastating conflicts in human history. The V stands for victory, the J for Japan. Together, they mark the day the world learned that the war in the Pacific was finally over. It's a term that carries the weight of relief, hope, and remembrance. On August 15, 1945, Japan announced its surrender, bringing World War II to a close. For millions, this was the long-awaited news that meant an end to years of uncertainty, fear, and loss. The world erupted in celebration, but also in reflection. The road to this victory was brutal and costly. The Pacific Theater saw some of the fiercest fighting of the war, with soldiers enduring harsh conditions, intense battles, and unimaginable hardship. Every inch gained came at a tremendous price. The war's end came after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, events that brought about Japan's surrender, but at a terrible human cost. The devastation left behind serves as a stark reminder of the horrors of war and the price of peace. News of Japan's surrender brought overwhelming relief to soldiers still fighting, prisoners of war longing for freedom, and families who had waited anxiously for loved ones to return. Across the globe, people wept, cheered, and embraced, knowing the nightmare was finally over. The celebrations, though joyful, were often quieter than those on VE Day. Many were simply too exhausted, too changed by loss to celebrate with abandon. Instead, there was a deep sense of relief, gratitude, and solemn remembrance. VJ Day is more than just a date on the calendar. It's a day of profound significance. It's a time to pause and reflect on the sacrifices made, the lives lost, and the lessons learned. It marks the end of global bloodshed and the dawn of a fragile peace. The world was forever changed, and the hope was that such devastation would never be repeated. On VJ Day, we remember the sacrifices of Allied forces in Asia and the Pacific, and the resilience of those who suffered through occupation, imprisonment, and loss. Their courage and endurance shaped the world we live in today. VJ Day is a time to honor their spirit, to recognize the peace they fought so hard to achieve, and to ensure their stories are never forgotten. It's a day for gratitude, remembrance, and a renewed commitment to peace for future generations. On this 80th anniversary, King Charles III reminded us of the true cost of war, a cost that extends far beyond the battlefield and lingers for generations. His words echoed through the ceremony, urging us to reflect not just on the past, but on the responsibilities we carry today. War isn't just about battles and victories. It's about shattered lives, destroyed homes, and deep scars that never truly heal. The aftermath of conflict leaves families torn apart, communities uprooted, and futures forever changed. The pain of loss and the trauma of violence ripple through time, affecting not only those who lived through it, but also their children and grandchildren. The King urged us to remember the devastation in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where entire cities were reduced to ashes in moments. He called on us to pray that such tragedy never happens again, reminding us that the horrors of war are not distant history, but urgent lessons for our present and future. Even in victory there is immense loss. Every name on a gravestone, every tear shed at a memorial is a reminder of the price paid for peace. The silence of remembrance is filled with stories of bravery, sacrifice, and heartbreak. His message was clear: look past the parades and ceremonies and see the real human suffering beneath. Behind every uniform and medal is a story of pain, resilience, and hope for a better world. The lessons of VJ Day are urgent today, as conflict still exists in our world. From distant battlefields to our own communities, the threat of violence and division remains. We must remember that peace is fragile, and it is our duty to protect it. Remembering the past reminds us to work for peace now. Each act of remembrance is a promise to honor those lost by striving for a world where such suffering is never repeated. Disagreements should be solved through understanding, not violence. Dialogue, empathy, and cooperation are the true foundations of lasting peace. We must teach future generations that compassion is stronger than conflict. The King's words honor the courage of veterans and civilians, and call us to protect the values they fought for: freedom, democracy, and peace. Their sacrifices demand that we stand up for justice and unity, even when it is difficult. We remember the cost of war to cherish the light of peace. Every moment of harmony is a tribute to those who endured the darkness of conflict. Let's be vigilant guardians of that peace, carrying forward the lessons of history with compassion, courage, and hope for a better tomorrow. The nation gathered at the National Memorial Arboretum in Staffordshire for a solemn service. King Charles, Queen Camilla, the Prime Minister, and the Japanese ambassador attended, symbolizing reconciliation. The true guests of honor were the veterans, living witnesses to history. The service honored those lost in the final months of the war, with prayers, hymns, and wreaths. At midday, a 2-minute silence united the nation in reflection and gratitude. It was a powerful reminder of the sacrifices made for peace. The commemorations included a stirring flypast of historic military planes. Spitfires and Hurricanes soared overhead, their engines echoing the bravery of wartime pilots. The Red Arrows joined, symbolizing the unbroken commitment of our armed forces. The sight and sound connected past and present, honoring both history and ongoing service. For veterans, it was a moving tribute, memories brought to life in the sky. The flypast was more than spectacle, it was a remembrance in motion. The roar of history echoed for a new generation. VJ Day commemorations unfolded across the country, beginning at dawn with the haunting sound of bagpipes. A lone piper played at the Cenotaph, Edinburgh Castle, and even a Japanese peace garden, symbolizing reconciliation. As night fell, landmarks across the UK were illuminated, representing peace overcoming war's darkness. These shared moments, The piper's lament, the national silence, the evening lights brought people together in remembrance. They made history tangible, connecting young and old to the meaning of VJ Day. The day's events ensured the memory of victory and peace remains vivid. Our gratitude shone brightly for all to see. King Charles shared a powerful lesson. The greatest weapons are not the arms you bear, but the arms you link. True strength comes from unity, not force. The Allied victory in 1945 was possible because nations joined together, setting aside differences for a common goal. Former enemies, Britain, Germany, Japan, are now close allies, proving the power of reconciliation. Linking arms in friendship is the ultimate victory of peace over war. This lesson applies to us all in our communities and daily lives. Teamwork, empathy, and understanding make us stronger. As we face today's challenges, unity is our guiding principle. Linking arms honors the legacy of those who won the war. Let's build bridges, not walls, and work together for a better future. That is the true tribute to the wartime generation. On this anniversary, we focus on the veterans, the heart of VJ Day's history. These men and women endured unimaginable hardship, fighting in distant lands and surviving brutal conditions. Many became prisoners of war, their resilience a testament to the human spirit. Honoring them means more than ceremonies. It means listening to their stories while we still can. Their memories are a living link to our past. The values they fought for, freedom, democracy, peace, remain vital today. By honoring our veterans, we reaffirm our commitment to those principles. Their sacrifice continues to shape our world. As we close, remember, history is our guide to a better future. VJ Day teaches us the catastrophic cost of war and the priceless value of peace. The courage of the wartime generation is a beacon, guiding us away from conflict and towards understanding. We honor their sacrifice by standing up for fairness, kindness, and democracy. Every act of compassion and unity is a tribute to their legacy. Let this anniversary renew our purpose to be vigilant guardians of peace. Carry the stories of the forgotten army in your heart. Build a future worthy of their sacrifice, dedicated to peace for all time.